Now, in this video I want to take a look at CSS3 border radius. We're going to look at why it's a good thing and how we can best use it. So we'll head over here to Dreamweaver and take a look at what code we have. And border radius really is, it's just applying rounded corners to elements, to HTML elements using CSS. It is a very useful feature as it cuts down greatly the amount of time spent whereby you're not the designer or developer doesn't have to go into Photoshop or other image altering software and then upload those image files, and you might have 4 for each element or possibly 2 for each element, and you're repeating yourself a couple of times per site. So yeah, it also cuts down on the website file directory size obviously with no images. CSS is just basically a text file, and images are obviously image files, and for that reason the CSS is definitely the way to go. Okay, so we'll just crack right on with that, and we will take a look at the HTML we have in place here. It's a basic HTML page. We just have our title, rounded corners, possibly should be called border radius, but same thing. We've linked to our style sheet, style.css, and inside the body tag we have a div with an ID of box, and inside the div we just have the text border radius. Now, not much happening here, so we will head over to our style sheet and see what we have going on. Now, we'll just quickly fly through what we have here. The body tag, we have colour for the text, we have a background colour set, and we have our font styles, font size and font style. We move on to the div with the ID of box. We give it a width and we give it a height. We center the text using text align. We give the text a text shadow, really just for aesthetic purposes, all this. And we will apply a gradient that we covered in the last tutorial, so this code should be familiar to you by now. Excuse me, this code should be familiar to you by now. We're just giving it a slight gradient, covering each browser here, Chrome and Safari. Chrome and Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer and Opera. So now we get into the border radius down here. So we look at the syntax. Now, basically, border radius can be specified by, I'll just jump above that just to show you now, and we could say border radius 90 pixels. Now this line is basically the equivalent to this line, these 4 lines rather. So if we were to take all of these out, excuse me, now if we were to take all of these out and head over to our HTML, open that with Chrome. We will work with Chrome here. We have a border radius of 90. Now, this looks simple enough. For a more subtle effect, we could say border radius, we could say border radius of 10 pixels. Head over to the browser and refresh, and we'll certainly have a more subtle effect. Now, this works across all major browsers now. As it stands, I will open it in Firefox just to demonstrate. Firefox does this thing where it opens the browser on the home page. I need to close that, then open it again with Firefox, and then it opens properly. I don't know why it does that, but there I have it. And since we're at it, we will open in Safari, and we will also open in Opera. I don't have access to Internet Explorer at the moment. I'm working from a Mac, as you can see. Excuse me. So as you can see, this property is well supported across all major browsers. Now, older browsers, people that do not update their browsers, we will still need the prefix. So here we have the prefixes for Mozilla, WebKit browsers, which Chrome and Safari, Microsoft Internet Explorer, and O for Opera. Now, the reason you would still put these in is to cover yourself for the people who do not have it installed, the latest browsers installed, I should say. Now, we can also target individual corners with border radius. So we could say top left, we could give top left 10, and we could give bottom right 10 pixel. So if we go over to any of them, this should work. And there we have a nicely styled div. Again, that should work across all browsers. Even more so now that the prefix is in place. And now, so there we go. We can have fun with that. I'm actually not sure about setting negative values, but sure, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Okay, so negative values don't work. I'm learning something. So again, I reiterate that there's not a huge amount to this. Down below here, I just set the border style. This is separate from the border radius. This is telling the browser that you want a 3 pixel border, you want it to be solid, and you a particular color. So we could say 10 pixel border, and we could have, well, dashed. I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but that's quite horrendous. Doesn't work very well with the gradient, but you get the idea. Just undo those changes. Now, I have a note to self here. All browsers except IE now support prefixless border radius. It's good practice to insert prefixes for all the browsers, followed by the prefix list declaration. This ensures future proofing for when the prefix is eventually dropped. Now, what this means is that this line would work best down here. Reason for that is when the day comes that the browsers no longer require the prefix, it will not understand this line of code. So as the browser cascades down the style sheet, it will say, okay, the prefix are no longer supported. I don't know what this line is. I don't know what this is, or this, or this. Hang on, I know what this is, and that's what will be served up. So it's a good idea to keep this line, the prefixless declaration, after the declarations with the prefix. That is about it for border radius. Again, it's a pretty simple but very useful tool for CSS3, and yeah, that's about it. We will see you in the next tutorial where we will have a look at, let me see, the CSS pseudo class selectors. Quite a mouthful and a very interesting topic, so we will catch up with you then. Thank you.